go down to the highway instead of making a corner there. If she's got a garden there, and that garden will be gone in the spring. The only other thing was, Don Vernon, he doesn't want to be, he says, I can't afford two of them right now. He said, so he just wants the one to run down his new house. So I didn't say anything to him. I said, he's currently about $5,000. It's going to cost me $6,000 to cross the street. You know, and I didn't tell him that either. But as soon as we get those two lines across there, I wouldn't want to put them two at the same time. It'd be stupid to put one and then have to put one later. Do two at the same time, and it's a little bit cheaper. But once that line is over there, he's gonna have to pay that $35 for the garage too. He ain't gonna like that, but service is there. There's lots of people that are paying there that aren't there.
Two separate service lines, two service fees.
Correct. Plus he's gotta pay that $2,500 for the new house. Other than that, so it'll be, I haven't really done anything yet. I'm waiting for. Oh, this was my suggestion to put the water line into the people's houses and then make them responsible for filling it up. State says we have to go all the way from the main all the way to the house. I don't know. We haven't figured out how much it's gonna cost. We'll have to raise the rates just to cover that stuff. Because we've got 100 of those services that we have. And looking at to go into the house, a bare minimum of $2,500, $3,000 just to go into the house from the main. We're still not looking from the main to the shut-off. The state says we got to do that. They're a lead service line.
How many are we doing a year?
Well, we got 105. We got to do 5 a year. I say it's not fair that they're getting water line right into the house. They should have to pay something. State requires us to put the line in the house, and that's all they require. Doesn't say anything about.
We'll add that to our list of things we need to look at as we revisit the rates.
So I'm not going to do any now. Or not going to do any this year until I get that straightened out. I'm not going to start putting 5 services in, and then the water companies are going to pay for it, and then next year people are going to fill it in. So,
just for a memory, John, do you remember when you and Aaron sat down and we did the race? That was like 2 years ago. How long ago was that? Yeah. Because they can't find our rates in there. I know we did it. I just don't know where they are.
yeah.
Find them.
There's no fundage report. They didn't have one.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay. It never got to me, so I just wanted to make sure, like.
Well, I made up 3 of them because I have to send one in, and then
Okay.
one for you guys, and one for you.
Yeah, I didn't
I
see
had the
it.
3 of them, and I don't.
Yeah. I know it's okay. We can add it in later. I didn't see it. So, sure. Okay.
We have someone joining us.
Well,
Well, we're maxed at 7 in the room, so we have to be very careful.
Yep. Okay, Mike, why don't you sit here? I can sit.
No, I can sit up.
Okay, let's sit up there. Okay. We can both sit up there. Why don't we do that? That might be easier. So,
Yeah, my apologies.
Okay,
but I Can you hear out there all right?
Yes, like we can hear better than on the recording, so that's.
Okay,
Thank you.
appreciate your understanding.
Yeah, that's okay, no problem.
Anything else, Bob?
And the other thing was we, thank goodness for, I appreciate all your people's help with getting that consumer report out. Got that all the time, so. And I don't know if you heard from anybody on the report at all.
Not that I'm aware of.
Got mine in the mail.
I did too.
Yeah.
Anything else, Bob? Thank you very much.
Like, I think I didn't, just for food for thought, I didn't get my $5,000 allotment. I just ordered what I need right at the moment.
Relative to supplies?
Correct. Yeah. I still have stuff that I have to get.
So you used part of the allocation, but not the totality of the amount. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Any questions for Bob? Cover the reports. We've also covered unfinished business and new business. Is there any public comment relative to the water system board meeting? Hearing none, motion to adjourn is in order.
Moved.
Mr. Wareham, is there support?
Support.
Still supports. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Please note the time. We will take a 3-minute break and convene the township. Go what?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Put them in one. Now's the time if anybody needs to take a quick break. And again, there's water in the fridge.
Pretty sure that was 3 to 4 years ago, by the way, guys. That rate stuff.
3 to 4?
3 to 4 years ago.
3 to 4, yeah.
Okay.
You got money for a boardwalk.
It was a year or two before we did the highway stuff.
Okay. Doesn't seem like that long, but you're probably right.
Oh, yeah. That would make it 2016, 2017. We'll look in that time period.
It's at least that far back, yeah.
It might even be before that then, because I don't think I was on the board yet.
It's at least that far back.
No, because Judy and Mary, I think, were both still on the board.
So it would have been prior to
Well, it could have
16.
been 14, 15 then. Well, we'll find it. We'll start pulling everything together for our office.
I'll just take binders home and start reading minutes. Ugh.
It's been an eventful enough day. Yeah. Is anybody interested in water?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Well, you can't have any, we just got done with the water meeting, so.
Thank you.
These can all go in the blue bin too for recycling.
Anybody else for water?
I'm fine, but thank you. Thank you.
Tracy, did you need?
I have water, thanks. Can you just briefly look these over and kind of jot down who this stuff belongs to? I need to pay those and I
It's all
don't,
maintenance. Like,
yeah, but I don't know, is it for all the, both water companies or
Yeah.
just one?
well, you can't,
That's the problem, I
yeah,
know.
you can't really charge it out until I use it, like down here or down in Tamarack.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Just,
I did that from
oh, okay, thanks.
to today.
You know what you
just
could
so it
do?
Gives you some numbers.
Tracy, would this work? Could you pay it out of Osceola water? Make a copy of it. And then later, when he says, okay, I use this, this, and this, and if you paid too much, then just reimburse. Oh, I don't know.
Because do you keep track of that when you use stuff? I mean, that sounds like a hot
Well,
mess.
yeah. I mean, whatever I use.
Because normally I do 2/3, 1/3, but it's sometimes
can't.
you say this is all for Dollar Bay.
You can't do it that way with this stuff because.
He might only use one.
That much in camera.
Yeah.
You know,
You might only have to do one thing out of 5,000 and
Yeah,
the rest of it will be
right.
here.
right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can't, you're probably better off just to charge it the Dollar Bay water and then. we
If
can
you
be
do something,
reimbursed.
you can
Reimburse.
reimburse you.
Tamara can reimburse us.
And you're gonna let me know that. Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, it's so very seldom that I. Yeah,
That's all.
that's Dollar Bay copper. Not like-
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I wanted to double check, but that's what I thought.
I was gonna leave you a note. for that.
She chopped.
I love your hair. Oh
I
my
didn't even
God, are you
recognize it when she
cute?
was.
You didn't color it.
Oh, you weren't talking to me?
Well, I love your haircut too.
Let's put green or red stripes or something.
I need,
She's doing blue and green.
I said I never close this town down again because I've been waiting. You have the one side shape will close.
I'm worried.
I'm going to.
Are you?
Because they're gonna shut this place
I think so too.
just a note that get to approval of the agenda on the second.
Huh?
Need
Yeah.
someone to offer an amendment
Yep.
to approve the,
Yep.
add to the agenda, the reports.
Rick is supposed to come and have somebody level that out.
Payment voucher
And
from
then we will need that
UP
hit meter
Engineering.
put
We
in.
have a certificate of substantial completion.
I don't know if we're gonna have a growing season this year anymore. You know, I don't know if we're gonna actually have a growing season or if we're just gonna, you know what I mean?
There's 3 different items.
I doubt it. I mean, it's already July.
From UP
but
Engineering.
Everything's ready to go
Also a
on there and we
contract
just have to get all the supplies pulled together and get the lot prepared.
Doesn't say anything about needing approval.
So we can decide.
That's something that I signed. with the other
Yours?
2 we-
Yeah.
What are we doing on the time? So we can.
We are ready.
6:25.
6:25.
Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Call the Osceola Township Board meeting to order. Ms. Wool, roll call, please.
Mr. Ware,
Here.
Ms. Gardner,
Here.
Mr. Jenke.
Yep.
Mr. Pocola.
Here,
Myself.
all members of the board are present, either through Zoom or in person. The first item after roll call attendance is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand if you're not already doing so? Face the flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I will make the motion to approve the agenda.
Is there support for the motion to approve the agenda?
I will.
Ms. Wool, are there any corrections, additions, or deletions suggested for the agenda?
You first.
Oh. Yes, I'd like to add 3 documents that have to be approved by us, 1 for Travis Engineering and 2 for UP Engineering. You can read it. I don't know where we can add those. Can we do that right away?
I think we could add them under unfinished business. If I may suggest, we add the Travis Engineering report and a UP Engineering report under unfinished business.
That was what I was gonna say, so.
I'll let you do it, Ed.
We now have suggested amendments to the agenda to include reports from Travis Engineering and UP Engineering, along with documents that require board approval. My understanding, the amendment to the agenda correctly.
Hold on. Down in new business where I'm asking for the election budget, do we need to add in there that I need permission from the board to raise the election inspector's wages.
Yes.
I think it would be
letter
appropriate
C.
to do so. So we
Okay.
will add an additional amendment under item C, under new business,
Yep,
election
election,
budget to include an increase in the rate paid to election workers.
election inspector. Mhm.
or inspectors. We have 3 suggested changes to the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda as originally presented was by Mr. Warren, if I recall correctly. Are those changes acceptable to you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Amended format. School you supported, are they acceptable to you?
Yes,
We now have a motion amended to include the 3 items identified by members of the board to be added to the agenda along with the reports and applicable action.
I did find one more.
One more from Ms. Gardner.
Yep, under approved minutes, we have general, but we also have the special meeting minutes. We're gonna have to approve both.
We will add a 4th item to approve the special meeting held on the 24th of June under approval of minutes. There's an additional amendment to the agenda. Is that acceptable to Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Ms. Cool? So we now have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. It contains 4 changes, including to the minutes, inclusion of reports from Travis Engineering, ADP Engineering, along with an addition under item 11C relative to payment for election workers. Have I summed up the changes correctly?
yes.
Yes.
Any additional items to anyone? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have an agenda as amended. Item 5, approval of minutes. Call for approval of the minutes for the June 10th meeting, regular session of the board first. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our June 10th, 2020 meeting?
I'll make that motion. Oh, we can make that motion. I'll
Mr.
support.
Warren moves. Ms. Gardner, are you supporting?
Yes.
Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as presented for our June 10th regularly scheduled board meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now calling for a motion to approve the minutes for our special meeting held June 24th, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting? Ms. Hool, is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner, any suggested changes, additions, deletions to the minutes for the special meeting held on June 24th, 2020?
One suggestion,
Mr. Warren.
and maybe it's just me. So Mr. Warren offered to eliminate Maple Street due to resident concerns. That was part of it, but the rest of it was there was too many concrete driveways and that. Can we just strike that line out?
Suggested amendment to the minutes that we strike something that represents an incomplete statement.
I believe it does, because it was the concrete driveways were also a concern to us. And that was brought up by these residents. I don't know, I just don't want to pinpoint.
Is the proposed change acceptable?
What?
To amend the minutes for the special meeting to delete the sentence that begins, please state it again if you would, Mr.
We don't need the whole sentence. I just would like to cross it due to resident concerns. Just
okay.
into parentheses, eliminate that.
Or to just due to concerns, period. Take the word residents
Well,
out.
we could do that too. Due to concerns, yes, that's a bit better.
We strike the word resident
Word
to
resident.
keep the intent of the sentence in place, but we take out a reference to messages.
Because it was a multi-decision. It wasn't just that.
And the motion to accept the minutes for the special meeting was made by, is
Me,
that acceptable to you?
yes.
and supported by, that's
Me.
acceptable to you.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have a motion as amended that will read, all is acceptable with the deletion of the word resident as indicated during discussion from the meeting minutes. All in favor of motion to approve the minutes as amended to delete the word resident as indicated, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, financial reports. You have in your packet financial reports for General Township, Road Fund, Mason Wastewater Fund, Tamarack City Water, Osceola Township Water. Do I have a motion to accept the reports as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Wareham, is there support for the motion to accept the financial reports as presented?
I will support that
Ms.
motion.
Gardner, are there any deletions, corrections, additions to the reports that are identified by any member at this time? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept the financial reports for General Township, Road Fund, Mason Wastewater Fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 7, approval of payment of bills from the General Fund, Road Fund, Mason Fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water. Please bear in mind that the recommendation from the Water Board to accept the bills as presented for Osceola Township Water. Do I have a motion to approve bills for payment? The General Fund, Road Fund, Mason Fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water Fund.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support for the motion? Ms. Hool, any further discussion on the motion to accept the bills for payment or the funds previously identified? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept the bills for payment, the General Fund, Road Fund, Mason Fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 8, public comment. Does anyone wish to address the Township Board at this time?
I'm Linda Heisler, and was wondering if there was any update on the status of the Mason Sewer project.
We do have Mr. Kiernan assisting us this evening, and I believe he will be reporting momentarily on the status of the project, brief overview. Is that correct? Andy there?
I apologize.
I know there was supposed to be a letter going out, and there's supposed to be a meeting with residents being scheduled. And I know that the loan closing date was sometime the week of July 13th. And I'm just wondering if those things are still on schedule or what the status is.
That was part of that special meeting, is it not?
Yeah, I also think that Mr. Kiernan is addressing that in his brief report tonight. Andy, is that a reasonable assumption on my part?
I missed some of the conversation. The closing, Brenda was tentatively setting that today. She was setting that for July 28th. So
That's the closing date?
closing date, correct.
Okay, so that's been set for July 28th.
And then once the closing has happened, we can do the pre-construction meeting. Probably the same day or possibly the following day. And then after that, we can schedule the public meeting.
There is an informational piece also that is going out to residents of Mason. I believe there was some minor work done on that after the last meeting.
Yeah, the informational piece is in progress. Hasn't been fully completed yet, but it's underway.
How soon might they anticipate that being made available to the residents of Mason?
I think fairly soon. I think, Krista, did Jim give you any further direction on that or information as when that would be available?
To me, no.
Okay.
I mean, we took the document and put it up on our website. But outside of that, no.
So that document is on your website.
I'm sorry.
You said that document's on your website?
It is. We put it up following the special meeting. It's under a link that says Mason Sewer Project, I believe. It's got its own heading, and it's the only document underneath it.
Yeah, so there would be no major revisions to that document going forward.
Okay.
Okay, when I checked that, I was using my iPhone, and under that tab, there were no documents. Now, it could be that I was just using, sometimes if you're using your computer versus your phone, may not sync, but the last time I looked, there weren't any documents. And Aaron, I thought, so we're, so I'm sorry, excuse me. So we're not for the week of July 13th, we're now at the week of July 28th, is that correct?
That's correct. A final date has not been set, although it is it's not going to be an in-person closing. So she's got it. Rural Development has that scheduled for July 28th.
So that's a Tuesday, if I'm reading the calendar correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so it's okay, all right.
When I do it with my phone, I had to select the web version at the bottom. I had the same thing. It was blank otherwise.
It was blank otherwise.
So if you
okay.
scroll down, you might have that option. Do you have an iPhone or do you
I
have
do have an iPhone.
Okay, it said at the bottom of mine web, and that's what I clicked. And then this came up, this document.
Is the document, and that document is what? Is the
This
letter,
is
a
the
draft of the letter that's going to be going out, or?
well, this is, I have a copy of it too. Do you want to just take a copy with you?
Sure, but yeah, I was just wondering what it was.
It is, to be honest, I didn't read it. It's titled Wastewater Improvement Project Mason Area Private Sanitary Sewer Service Lateral Installation Process. And it kind of walks the residents through everything, the ordinance. At the very back, there was some information about grants if people needed, to research that option to be able to get their portions taken care of.
Okay.
So it's like it's a packet for the residents of information. So
Okay, all right, I'll see if I can get that.
yeah, we can get you.
In our minutes there, Linda, it did say there was a mid-July closing, but I think they moved it to the end of July.
Right.
And then it says it will be followed by a construction meeting
Yeah, I
and then
saw
a
it.
residential meeting. So
Right.
you're probably looking first week of August for your residential meeting.
So the residential meeting they'll invite all the residents
Yes.
and decide whether or not they want to come.
And I believe at that time, they're gonna hand you that packet. If I remember what Jim said correctly.
Okay.
So you'll be able to-
If you can give us enough heads up on that, that's going to be important.
Yeah.
Because we need to let these people know, and we have a lot of contact with the people in Mason. So
I believe that's up to Jim. I'm sure Jim will let us know.
My recollection is that everybody's going to get a copy of the informational.
how are they going to get this copy?
Well, that, I can't answer that question. I don't know if it's gonna be posted or mailed or a combination thereof.
Okay.
But we'll do our very best to make sure that everybody that's affected by the project has a copy of the document.
Okay, because we can distribute as well, along with your mailings if you want.
I
We
thank you
just
for
want to
that.
make sure everybody's informed and knows.
I appreciate the offer. We'll certainly keep that in mind as we go forward. But I think our intent is to reach out to everyone that's
Good.
affected by it.
Are we still looking at project completion by year end?
That's an assumption on our part, but perhaps Andy would have some updated information if there is any. I think we're still looking at conclusion by the end of the calendar year, are we not, Andy?
Yes, we're hoping for completion of the project by the end of the calendar year. There are some factors that could affect that, such as lead time on pumps and equipment. We are seeing some extended lead times for pumps and equipment due to the COVID. But our hope is that the contract would complete the project contingent upon equipment availability, pumps and equipment, and lift station equipment.
Okay, and that would be their part of the project, not our hookup part of the project, because that's running pretty late.
True, that would be running pretty late. Probably be looking at a spring hookup period for most of the residents.
Okay.
Do we know, one of the biggest questions that we're hearing is, where will the mains be running? Is that information available yet?
Yeah, the plans for the sewer collection system is established. It's in the plan set, and that information is available to folks if they want it. That we will have a set of plans at the informational meeting that folks will be welcome to review.
Okay. Are they available now?
Sure.
Can we come and get those?
You can get them from the township.
Might I suggest that we talk with Jim and Andy and secure copies of what you're referencing and then have them available ideally sometime next week?
Oh, that would be good.
Does that make sense, Andy?
Sure.
We'll coordinate with you and Jim. We'll get copies of what we're referencing and have what is current and available to us available at the township office. Shall we say not later than a week from today? Given that the closing is on the 28th, that would get it out to the residents then if they choose to come and pick one up, or we distribute probably close to 2 weeks prior to the closing. So just to have a point of reference. Sure. Does that make sense?
No problem.
Okay.
As long as they can do that. Yeah.
We'll be in contact with you then.
Very good.
Thank you. Anything else under public comment from either of you?
We're just concerned. We had understood that there may be a problem with our freshwater lines coming into Mason. Is that correct?
We're working on it.
Okay. Well,
Where there was a washout, the water line along the
on there?
DNR trail. Bob's aware of it, I know, but
We're just wondering where the priority list sometimes, it gets put back on the end.
Right. I know Bob's been in touch and we've been in communication
Yeah, I know.
with people trying to address with, how can I phrase it, not appear indelicate, deeper pockets than the township. Because we placed, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're on the railroad right away, are we not?
Yep.
The water line, and we're trying to coordinate some kind of action with them or have them facilitate some.
Is that the MDOT or?
Bob, you want to answer the questions, please? You're certainly
not all
far more
MDOT.
familiar with it than I.
It's not all MDOT, but the part that is, that's what we pay the franchise fee for.
Okay.
Yeah, we're aware of it and trying to find a solution to it
Mhm.
as expeditiously as possible.
Okay.
great. Anything else?
That's all I
There you
know.
go.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're
Thank
more than
you.
welcome to stick around.
Yeah, okay. Just thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay.
Andy,
Yes, sir.
does this pretty much sum up what your report would be?
Yeah, we have nothing new to report on at this time. We're just waiting for closing. All the documents are in the hands of Rural Development and the bond attorney, and they just need to complete the documentation and finalize the closing.
Might I suggest then that we accept this as the UP Engineering and Architecture's report. And then when we get to your part of the agenda, we'll simply move to take action on the items necessary to, unless you have additional comment at that time.
Yeah, at this time, I have no additional comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else with public comment? We'll reserve an opportunity for people at the end of the meeting should someone change their mind. With the comment of the board. Moving on from public comment, please note the close time. Reports. First report is the assessor's report.
No report.
I'll just dovetail something in here if I may. There was an AMAR review on Monday that I attended, and by all appearances, it went well. It was an educational experience for me. And Laura was there, certainly representing to the state representative, the township. So
Who came?
I did not catch her name,
Okay.
but a 35-year professional.
Oh, okay.
So certainly knew her way around the process
Yeah.
and spoke candidly to us. So I try to latch on to 2 or 3 things that I can hang on to, and I hit my maximum 3. And after that, it started washing over me, but I'm glad I went. Now I have a context.
Just in addition to that, the border review is coming up on the 23rd at, I believe it's now set at 10
10 a.m.
July border review.
Thank you. I'll skip that on my report then.
Oh.
Thanks, Chris. No, we're fine. That's perfect. Second report is maintenance. There's a report in your packet. Review it at your leisure. MC, Dollar Bay Fire Department.
We had one call out for a carbon monoxide detector going off. And other than that, 4th of July was really quiet here in town. Other than that, that's it for me.
Thanks, Ron. Dollar Bay First Responders.
Nothing.
I have nothing from what
Tamarack City Fire Department.
No report.
I can't remember anything that I can update you on. 4th of July went better than we expected.
3rd of July too.
Third, that's what I meant, was the 3rd of July, but everyone knows what I mean.
In deference to the Tamarack City Fire Department, they were aware of the private celebration and were on call and available if an emergency occurred. Tamarack City Utility Board. Material from the last meeting in your packet. Don, is there anything you think deserves highlighting?
Oh, I am going to back up 1 second.
Please.
The fire department, we did have the fire hall exterminated. We have a real spider problem. So you're gonna see a bill if you have not already
We
seen
did.
it for
It's here,
$175. Okay, cool. So,
Or at least the yellow copy of the thing came in. I don't know if it was the bill, but yeah.
And just a note, he did give us a regular household rate, so we gave the fire department a nice discount.
Nice.
Okay.
G, Torch Lake Sewage Authority. There's material in your packet. Supervisors report. Do my best to be brief and bring you up to date on a number of items. Your packet is the road commission agreement for the work to be done in Tamarack City. And if you have had the opportunity to drive between Dollar Bay and Lake Linden, especially in recent days, you'll see that there's a great deal of activity. FEMA work, along with what we've authorized relative to our contractor agreement with the road commission. And they prepared roads prior to the 4th of July weekend, and work is going on in earnest as we speak.
Did they mention anything about covering some of the costs for those rings on that construction, or they did not?
That did not come up formally. You're going back to the Torch Lake Sewage Authority.
Yeah.
That has not been formally discussed, but I have raised the issue with Osceola Township representatives on the board, and I think they are willing to entertain the idea.
I didn't see it in there after I read it, so I just wondered.
Once we get input from the road commission, get an idea as to cost, it may not be a bad idea to consider invoicing at least for part of the cost from Torch Lake Sewage Authority. So just putting an idea out there for consideration. Beach issues, there have been a number of them over the last week or so. There is an E. coli report in your packet that's dated, I believe, the 30th of June, and we're fine. There was an algae bloom advisory, and we received notice on it. Aaron, thank you for your work in keeping me appraised. I learned that the health department, because of the relatively short notice, actually posted signs on our behalf and apparently others. I did talk with Tanya at the health department, and she updated me, said they are running some tests on the blooms. And it's my understanding that if the algae is not dangerous or it's dissipating, they may take the postings down in the not too distant future.
So they did they get results back from those tests they did before 4th of July, or have you heard anything on that?
As of the conversation, I haven't received an email updating me on the test results.
Okay, all right.
But thank you for the heads up, and it worked out. At-risk signs are up, not only at our parks, but at the beach. And I did hear earlier today from Markham Marina, they did have yellow line, as I think I indicated to you before, but it was 1/4 inch. And I asked them that we might need something a little more substantial for the buoys. They have now received a 500-foot spool of blue and white line, 3/8 of an inch, which is slightly larger, and I believe comparable to what we had before. It's 24 cents a foot, and I'll be talking with Donnie Ebert about how many feet we need, and can get it cut to length and probably have the buoys out within the week at the beach. There are some issues that we've been made aware of here in the office about people probably dumping household garbage and other things going on at the beach, which has the potential to become problematic if it persists. Lastly, the light at the boat landing was out, but the light has been repaired as of today, and is now illuminating the night sky, if you will, after dark. As Krista mentioned, there is a board of review meeting on the 23rd of July, beginning at 10 a.m. Notices have a notice relative to the meeting has gone out to all members, including alternates of the board of review. The Kendrick Bordeaux agreement was executed at the end of last week and sent back to them. They have been working on our behalf with regards to the Mason project. And the primary attorney is Pat Greeley relative to township business. We haven't gotten our signed copy back yet from them, but it went out to them just prior to the 4th of July weekend. We have yet to post an ordinance on our website. It is our hope to do that on Monday and then have it available for comment for 2 to 3 weeks. We discussed it internally. I wanted to bring the idea to the board's attention to see if there's a preference. We looked at 5 ordinances rather informally and want to pick one of the 5 for posting. They include junk cars, blight, dangerous buildings, burning ordinance, or parking. Is there a preference to lead this effort on review of our ordinances with community involvement in those 5 or any other ordinance from anyone's perspective?
I still say burning or blight. Those are probably the two biggest we get, and tis the season, so.
Light, I think, is your biggest. Renewable.
Pick one, and the intent would be to start with these 5 and post each one of them over the next 3 to 4 months for periods of time, and we would ask generally for people to respond either via email or a letter or note to us rather than calling and say, we think they're just fine the way they are. We think it needs some work. Here's a suggestion. We think it needs major revision. Here's some ideas. So we'll bring those back in and then give us a place to start as we review from the board perspective with input from the community. And certainly that review would, as the board meets, be open to the public. And it might even result in the formation of an ad hoc committee or whatever if we feel that additional input from the community would be beneficial. So the consensus seems to be around blight or burning. We'll pick one for Monday and post it on the website with the instructions to the residents and go from there.
What are we thinking?
Well, nothing yet. We have
Okay.
blight or burning. We'll make a decision. How's that?
Blight sounds good. I mean, I thought it should have been one or the other.
Light's gonna be one of your biggest.
Seems to be
ones.
consensus. We'll start with blight.
We'll get it ready.
That was easy. Fireworks, Don made reference to it. It appears to have gone off without a hitch in Tamarack City on Friday the 3rd. Just by point of reference, there were some minutes of time involved. Supervisor's position in that there were signs up in the intersections that surprised some people and they commented on them. Did have 2 conversations with the sheriff's department relative to the event, conversations with the fire chief, conversations with members of the fire department, and a 10-minute visit to the site sometime around 8 p.m. in the evening. And I talked with the facilitator of the event, Mr. Killinen, who offered to take the signs down, but assured me that they would be visible even after dark, which was the concern raised. And I talked with him a few minutes about it. There were probably 150 to 200 people there when I was there, but more were arriving. I did not receive any phone calls after the fireworks began, either on the cell or at home. And I left home just right around 7 a.m. Saturday morning, and all the signs were gone. The road off-spray and the roads that led out to the point did not seem to be appreciably different than they were the night before. It looks very much like they policed up after themselves. I went by the park very slowly, did not see anything unusual or out of the ordinary at the township park. So it appears that it went off without major incident or incident at all.
He took his kids, he had his kids behind his pickup truck. And he went out and cleaned the point the very next morning.
Okay. Thanks, that I did not know. Thanks, Tom. That pretty much wraps up what I had intended to cover under the supervisor's report. Thanks for the additional input. Any questions of me? Again, thanks to each of you for your contributions during my discussions with you on those items.
So study co-I, what's the difference between open and advisory?
The advisory, you post a warning, you flip it over and advise.
I know what the difference is.
Relative to the numbers?
Yeah.
That I can't answer. That's a health department
It's
issue.
identical.
Yeah, that I kind of, you look, maybe that's a threshold.
I might be an error, I don't know, because it says open is the exact same threshold as
No.
advisory, so, okay.
Well, they sent that out. They also, we have a sign that had, well, in deference to the health department, they sent me the stuff and the 2 laminated signs got stuck together. So when I pried them apart, I assumed that they were 2 separate signs. I did not flip the first one over because the initial sign about this place being tested was on the back, and I made some phone calls. You said, I'll email you another one, but I think it's on the back of the advice. So it was. So when Dale went out and put them up, so the notice is up, and then if there's an advisory, he'll flip it over. But thank you for noting that. I wasn't quite sure either, but think the signs are self-explanatory.
Okay,
And they'll make the determinant. That's the best I can do, Don.
that's fine.
Not really an
I
answer.
thought maybe you knew.
The next item on our agenda is unfinished business. The first part is Travis Engineering Report that was distributed to you this evening, and there is action required, requested more appropriately by Travis Engineering relative to the monthly payment estimate. We have Mr. Janke at a disadvantage. Aaron, do you need the numbers?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I got
I'll
it
just-
here. We're not in the packet. Yeah. So
It is my recommendation that the township pay the attached estimate in the amount of $77,398.40. Please get board approval to sign the pay estimate in the lower left-hand corner on all 3 copies. Looking for approval to make this estimated payment. Is there any discussion on the report or the request relative to the estimated payment? Do I have a motion then to approve estimated payment amount $77,398.40 as requested by Travis Engineering for services rendered? Yep. This is relative to FEMA work.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a motion?
I'll support.
There's support. So moved by Mr. Worm, supported by Ms. Gould. Any further discussion on the motion? Is to approve the estimate for work on 6th Street in Tamarack City, FEMA storm sewer repair in the amount of $77,398.40. Hearing no further discussion, call for a roll call vote, please, on the motion.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yep.
Mr. Jenke?
Yep.
Again, I think your name
Mark?
tonight. Mr. Osceola?
Yes,
Myself, yes.
motion carries.
It's the heat.
Trustee.
Thank you.
Tracy,
Mr. Wareham.
it gets worse. when
Just,
you don't-
that's not coming out of our water.
I'm almost there.
No, that's
Couple more
FEMA
months.
money.
That's the FEMA.
Yeah, that's why I read the note in the notice about FEMA.
We have like $95-ish thousand that came in almost a year ago now. That's just been sitting,
Yeah.
waiting
that's
for
fine.
this to be
Yeah, I
done. So
just
that's
wanted-
where it'll come
just
out of.
Wanted to double check.
Yep.
like I say, so that-
And to insert a footnote in there, if I may, Krista, is that there are other FEMA projects, such as the boat landing and Avenue A, I believe it is, et cetera, that will be addressed with the balance of the FEMA money. But those bids have not gone out of Traverse Engineering as of this moment, to my knowledge. So they're focused on 6th Street completion. Nothing else from Traverse Engineering. UP Engineering and Architect, Andy, we have the report. Comments made during public comment in response to questions about the Mason Sewer Project. Have you thought of anything else that you feel the need to add relative to your report?
No, nothing new.
Require board action. One is approval of the financial report and the payment request. The second is the certification of substantial completion. Let's take them in order.
Say that again.
First one is our monthly payment request from UP Engineering. It is, if I'm reading this correctly, in the amount of $30,028.55.
Yes.
And we've been invoiced that amount. The supporting documentation is here on the document for signature. Do I have a motion to approve payment as requested?
No motion.
Ms. Cool, is there support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner, additional discussion On the motion, accept the invoice and authorize payment. Hearing none, call for a roll call vote.
Mr. Ram,
Yes.
Ms. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Jenke,
Abstain.
Mr. Buffalo,
Yes?
myself, Ms.
The vote is 4 in favor with 1 abstention. Second item is the certification of substantial completion. Everyone has had a chance to look at the cover page of your packet, and there's additional information enclosed. Do I have a motion to approve the document as presented for signature?
I will make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
I'll second it.
Mr. Wareham, is there any discussion on the motion to approve the certification of substantial completion of the project? And we're referring to the project for the Mason sewer system. Do not believe that this calls for an expending of resource, but certification of substantial completion. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we'll sign that document this evening. Andy, have we addressed everything from your perspective?
I believe so, yes.
There is a companion document, contractor's application for payment, and I believe that just requires signature without board action.
It's part of that.
Part of the second
what we
document.
approved.
Yep, I stand
Yes.
corrected. Thank you. My apologies. It's an attachment. Part of the second document. Thank you. Appreciate the clarification. Anything else under unfinished business? If not, new business. First item is office planning group contract for service agreement.
Okay, so we got our new printer. He was in last week, Thursday morning. They gave us a contract. Included in the contract would be any parts, any labor, drums, or toner. And that's up to 18,000 pages. And when they looked, that's kind of what we average per year, which is why they set it at that. The base charge for that would be $299.15. That's the annual charge. If we went over the 18,000, then we would begin to be charged 0.017 per page. Now this would be, should we need toner, should we need them to come out, you know, only if it goes above that number of pages. Now, to give you some perspective, in 1 year, we generally purchase 3 toners, which are $86 a piece, which totals $258. In addition to that, we almost always have them come out at least once. At least once. I would say more than once, but I can promise you they're out here at least once annually. In my opinion, it would be worth it for us to just pay for the contract. Then we know we're covered. We can just order a toner as needed. We can have them come out and help us with the printer as needed. But again, that's just my opinion. There's approximately a $30 difference just with the toner if we accept this contract.
Are we gonna use a lot of it this year because of election year, or?
Yes,
Yes, I mean, the print,
definitely.
we use the heck out of this printer. I mean, it gets,
So you think our 18,000 is in jeopardy this year just because of the election?
I would
If that's
think,
our average?
absolutely.
that we would go over the 18,000, do you think?
That's my question.
Well, I don't know if we'll go over I think, well, I don't know.
I mean, they said they
I'm
could,
more worried about the toner, that we might use more. toner.
yeah, they said they can give us one if we want to go higher, like to 20,000, you know, they could adjust the price if we're interested in looking at a higher
Is
number
that
of,
a yearly contract?
it is, yeah. So after a year, we can choose to renew or
If we go
not.
over this year, it's just a little bit, we pay a little bit more.
The overage is 0.017 cents per copy over the 18,000.
Yeah.
little less than 2 cents.
Yeah.
I
But-
mean, you know the numbers better. I'm just
Yeah.
worried that we're gonna go way over the 18,000.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know if we would necessarily do that. I'm just thinking, I would.
I was trusting what they said because I don't actually know how much.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah,
we bill out of there monthly, the water, one or two waters.
Mhm.
Every tax season, I print my taxes off of that because it's better than this.
so that number is pretty steady.
Pretty
Yes,
steady,
it's
yeah.
very
Now-
steady.
Now we're throwing an election year on top of that, and that's our average.
Right. And are the toners more expensive on this?
They
new
cost
machine
exactly
than
the same.
They're
They're the
exactly
same. Yep,
okay.
I had them checked.
But they supply
The toners, the maintenance.
as many toners as we need.
Yeah, as long as it, like, for that base charge, as long as we didn't go over 18,000 pieces of paper.
May I suggest something based on the conversation?
Mhm.
That we ask them to submit an amended plan for 20,000 copies.
I'd like to
And
see what the price is.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm worried this year with that.
And
Mhm.
then what we do is we take action at our August
Yeah.
meeting. This is brand new, the machine's under warranty. They were here, what, 2 days ago? Yes.
They were here on Thursday last week.
Well, actually, they were here this week too because there was a paper issue.
Oh, no.
Well, he just happened to stop in when he
Yeah.
was picking up the old machine.
Oh, yesterday.
So he
Okay.
just, I'm not gonna
I
charge
thought he
us
was
for that.
clairvoyant or had.
We're
something
covered.
to be
We're
with
covered
that.
for the first 30 days.
Oh,
They
okay.
can't charge us.
Okay,
So-
We're good, so.
I think it's worth looking at. with
just
the election
to
year.
see.
That's why he said print. He said kick the crap out of this thing for the first 30 days because they can come back and do anything
Just to
needed.
get the, anything.
Mhm.
Then let's ask them to up the number to
To
20,000
okay.
and resubmit for August. How does
Okay.
that sound?
Perfect.
I will do that. Okay.
Next item is Superior National Bank online banking. We need to remove Ms. Ringler and add Ms. Gardner.
So the wording, I just found out, I went to go do something with the online banking. I can't even remember what I was doing. Oh, I didn't get a copy of a statement, so I went to print it. And somehow, with all the changeovers, I was never authorized as the administrator. Mary is still listed. So somebody needs to make a motion authorizing me as the administrator of our online banking at Superior National Bank and removing Mary Ringler as the administrator.
I will make that motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Wareham to remove Ms. Ringler and add Ms. Gardner as the,
Administrator of our online banking at Superior National Bank.
do you understand the motion that Mr. Wareham made?
Mhm.
Is there support for the motion?
I support.
Support. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Third item, item C under new business, $12,000 request for election-specific budget.
We
School, the floor is
did.
yours.
We are still working on our budgets because we don't know what money we're gonna have coming in. But with these two elections, I don't have an actual election budget. I'm just paying what I need to pay, putting it in an election category, which we're gonna have to move money at some point, which is not an issue right now, so. But I do need money. Just heads up. We do not get paid back for this one in August, the primary. November, we will get paid back from the state for all of our expenses for that.
Okay.
With that, I need to get a motion to increase our pay for our election inspectors. We are way under what most other townships and cities are paying, which is causing workers who want to go work in other places where they get paid more daily. Right now, we're at $13 an hour, which, about a 15-hour day is kind of average 13, 15-hour day. They're making about $195 a day. I am requesting that we up their pay to $220 a day. And that we up the pay from $250 a day for the chair people and the county board to $270. So it's not a huge increase, but it will keep them here.
You're requesting $12,000 for an election budget.
For my budget, and that will pay for my workers, that will pay for my stamps, that will pay for my envelopes, that will pay for everything.
What is a
To
normal
feed
election
people.
budget? What do we normally spend? Isn't that pretty close to this?
Yeah, the last one was, the one in March was about right around $4,000. I didn't have as many workers working for that one. A, I didn't have them, and B, we did not have the amount of absentee.
Does that cover both elections?
Yes,
And then we get reimbursed?
and then we'll get reimbursed.
Partial reimbursement.
Partial
I'll make the motion.
reimbursement.
I'll make the motion to give $12,000 for the election budget.
And then does that include
that-
me, the pay
That
increase
includes your
for
pay-
the,
with including the pay increase for, I forgot what you call it.
election inspectors? Yeah. And sure.
I will support that motion.
We have a motion to approve the $12,000 along with the motion, along with the dollar amount. It includes increases as identified for the election workers and for the
Yep, the inspectors and
Inspector.
just my basic
Yeah.
money that I need to run the election, just the day-to-day stamps and
So the motion and support that
the
this
police.
$12,000 includes the aforementioned increases in salary and all costs associated with running the elections. Is that a reasonable way to sum it up?
Yes.
Yes.
Questions then about the motion? The motion and support. Any discussion or further questions on the motion? Hearing none, call for a roll call, please.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
Scrivener,
Yes.
Mr. Jenke,
Yes.
Mr. Vogel,
Yes,
myself, yes.
motion carries. Final item.
Before you,
Before I,
I just have Kristen's chatting. Anybody who needs to chat, I'm gonna have to get you after. I don't want to screw it up in I lost capability to type, so I'll get to you guys after the meeting's over. Thank you. That's all.
final identified item on new business is the Houghton County's proposed recreational authority. There's a resolution in the packet asking us to join.
I did not get to read it, so if
That's first-
somebody can brief me on what this is, I would be grateful.
Me too, 'cause that's the first I've seen it.
I read it and I guess I'm asking,
started
are
to
we able,
confuse.
did they give us a timeline? Or, I mean, do we have to,
Can we push it?
can we table it to August?
Is there a motion to table it to the August meeting?
I would like to make that motion.
We have a motion to table participating with the recreational authority and approving the resolution to the August meeting. Is there support for the motion to table? We have support. All in favor of the motion to table the Houghton County Recreational Authority resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
We've reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional public comment?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please identify yourself.
Hold on 1 second. Let me do this different. Okay. Okay, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Oops, hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. I just had well, a couple things. One of them I wanted to say, thanks for putting those board packets online. That was really helpful. So was that you, Krista?
We did it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really helpful. So thank you for that. And then I had chatted, maybe you could just tell me now, I had that question about the property tax bills and when
Yes.
those have gone out yet.
Yes, they're all out.
Okay, so they're in the, do you know what day they got mailed?
Your bills went out on, I believe they went out on Wednesday, the 1st.
Okay. Okay, good. And I want to say that at the beginning of the meeting, the audio quality was kind of muffly, but it almost seemed like it got better. I know you had turned down your fan, Krista.
Yeah.
But it was still a little bit muffly, but then it seemed like, I think, Mark, you project pretty well. So that's really helpful when people are attending. And oh, and I did have one suggestion about the in-person. I don't think that was on the website, that you guys only have a certain amount of people that can actually be there in person. Could you clarify that, how that works? You said 7 people in the room?
It has to do with complying with executive orders relative to social distancing. And because our meeting room is so small, a 7 to 8 maximum number is what we arrived at.
So it might help to have that on when you put the Zoom meeting, so that, like, you know, because Linda and Kim from Mason and people don't necessarily know. I had scanned for that myself to see if there was any clarification of, you know, making sure that people can or can't attend in person. And that way people aren't surprised if they know that there's that room limit.
Yeah, we can add that.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us in the know of how you can hear, because obviously to us we can hear, and each meeting we keep making little tweaks. So
yeah, keep making those tweaks. A good person to ask too would be Cindy and Horst, if they're still with us, because they have both spoken up in the past about audio.
yeah, okay. All right, if either one of you are on and have feedback, that would be good.
Yeah, okay, good. I like this format. This is really nice to be able to see you guys and participate in the meeting remotely. So it's a pretty neat format.
We agree.
You know, speaking though of the people who can attend in person, so that people aren't surprised by getting to the meeting if you end up with a lot of attendance, I don't know if people could RSVP or some way so that guests would know, hey, there's not enough room for us. I don't know if there's any, it's just something to put out there so that people are aware that they could end up, you know, getting turned away if there's too many people.
Yeah, we'll definitely give that a go around and figure out how.
Pretty much maxed every meeting, because we have to have our water report, and we have,
Yeah, so there might really not be enough for people to attend. I think Linda had mentioned that it was the audio that actually motivated them to come. So as the audio continues to, you know, improve and you guys keep tweaking it, maybe people will feel satisfied with the Zoom.
Yeah, I'm going to try to obtain an external microphone for the next meeting, so I'm hoping that will help the audio even more.
Okay, good. And Krista, just out of curiosity, since on the property taxes, did the newsletter go in with it?
It did, yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
I believe we did include the newsletter on the website already as well.
Oh, okay, so you can see a heads up there. And I just noticed, you know, on the election, everything is pretty quiet locally, from talking about, you know, that people can still run as candidates if they wanted to for the positions. I'm a proponent, not of trying to, not trying to manufacture competition, but just making sure that people know they can participate in local government. And throughout Houghton County, there's really not much that happens to publish the fact that, you know, we're having an election, all the positions are open and people can get involved. And it's a bit disappointing that there's just, you know, whether it's the townships or at the county, there's really not much publicity for the local elections to let people know that they could actually, you know, run for these different things and learn about, hey, what is, you know, what do trustees do? What is the clerk? What is the treasurer? What is the manager? What does the county clerk, you know, do? So I just wanted to say that out loud, that it'd be nice to see those more visible to the public, just in case people wanted to get more involved in local government. All right, that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, this is Cindy. I had a question about the $12,000 for the elections coming up. Was that just August?
No.
August and November.
August and November. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yep, Cindy, were you able to hear okay during the meeting?
I could hear pretty good during the meeting. I had trouble telling who was speaking off screen, and I could hear when Mark would say Bob, and then I would know it was Bob speaking. And Bob did a better job of speaking louder so that I could hear this time. And I could hear Mark better when he either had his mask off or when he was speaking more loudly with his mask on. But I heard pretty well tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue to work on it. And thanks for the suggestion about identifying who's speaking. We'll try to keep that in mind going forward.
Thank you, because I can only see the three people at the table, so I don't know who is speaking, whereas you can see them. But thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have a comment?
Hey, Mark, Andy here.
Yes, Andy.
I was distracted earlier when you were going over the DEQ draw requests and the contractor draw request. The DEQ form needs to be signed, and the contractor application for payment number 2, final, also needs to be signed.
Yes, we have it all. I went over it with Jim last week, and we have all the copies made and indications where Mark needs to sign, so we'll have it all set to go.
All right, good. I just wanted to make sure that that's all done correctly.
Okay, thank you. And Mark wants to know, would you like them hand delivered tomorrow?
Sure.
Will do.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have anything else? Please note the closure of the second public comment time. Our next meeting is scheduled for, I believe, the 12th of August.
You're correct.
Here at our meeting room. If there's no other business to come before the township board, motion to adjourn is in order.
I will make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Wareham, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Right?
Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.
7:30, just like we said.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll sign these and get them over to you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.